All right, guys, we are back in the garage working on the 1978 Suzuki GS750, and last time we got this engine to start, but it wouldn't run. It would only run on choke. As soon as we gave it throttle, it died. That tells me it wasn't getting fuel, and since then, I think we've discovered a couple of things. One is I had broken off the slow jet in the number 2 carb. Part of it was actually lodged inside the carb, and I had to drill it out. Yup, super sketchy. Let me show you those jets. So the jet on the right is correct. The one on the left is the one that broke off inside the number 2 carb, and you can see the end of it is missing. That's because it was lodged in there and I had to drill that out. That was super sketchy. Now, did I permanently damage this carb by doing that? I don't know. I don't think so, but we won't know for sure until we get these carbs back on the bike and get it running again. The second thing we found, and I say we because my friend Steve helped coach me through mapping out all of the fuel and air circuits on these carbs last night. There are 2 very, very small holes on this side, the engine side of the slide in the throttle bore, where the fuel air mixture from the slow speed circuit comes into the carburetor, into the airstream going into the engine. I'm going to try to zoom in there and show you what those look like. They are extremely small. Okay, I am zoomed way in on one of the carburetors. This is very hard to show on camera, but you can see one hole here and one hole here. Those are at the base of the slide. Now these carbs are upside down at the moment, but this is the bottom of the throttle bore. These tiny little pinholes are at the base of the slide, and that's where the air fuel mixture comes out from the slow speed circuit. So when I initially rebuilt these carbs, I did not notice those tiny little holes, and I didn't work specifically to clean those out. I think they may have been, probably were plugged, and now I've gone through them with carb cleaner with compressed air multiple times to where I can spray a mist through those. So if those were plugged, that means no fuel from the slow speed circuit was getting into the engine, which explains why it wouldn't idle, it wouldn't run off of choke. I think we've cleaned those out. I think we've repaired our broken jet situation. Only thing we can do now is put the carbs back in the bike and see if she goes. Here we are again with the carbs back on the bike for the 3rd time. Hopefully, 3rd time's a charm. We got our fuel bottle hooked up. Let's put the choke on. I'm gonna have to have my hand ready on that so we don't rev it to the moon. Assuming it starts. Ignition. We're in neutral. Got the run switch on. All right, let's see what happens. Still doesn't seem to be getting fuel off choke. I'll give it a little more. Oh, it's still acting the same way. Same result after all that work. Wow, that's frustrating. I really thought I was onto something there. The more throttle I give it, the more it wants to die. It's just not getting fuel. Man, that's frustrating. I have been doing some tuning on these carbs, and I think I may have solved our running issue. The fuel mixture screws on the bottom side of the carb toward the engine side. I set those at 2 turns out. I didn't know where to set them. I got the carbs in a box separate from the bike. The bike wasn't running, obviously. And they were all about 2 turns out when I got the bike. One of them was 2 1/4. So I recorded those and I just set them back to where they were the way I had found them. You look in the manual, and I have an original 78 Suzuki GS750 service manual. Nowhere in here does it say where to set the fuel mixture screw. All it says is, note, Do not disturb the screw shown in the photo. That's the only mention of the fuel mixture screw in the entire manual that I can find. It basically just says, don't touch it. Okay, well this thing's been running lean. It won't idle. So I thought, well, maybe I need to turn those fuel mixture screws out. So I turned them out a full turn. So that'd be 3 turns out. It seemed to run a little bit better. So I turned them out another full turn. And then I turned the air mixture screws in about a quarter turn. And now I'll show you what it's running like. All right, so ignition, fuel, give it a little choke. It's still kind of warm. That's no choke. And it's idling about 1,500 RPM. And now if I give it throttle, yeah, it doesn't fog, it just revs up. Idle's a little lumpy, okay, I don't have the airbox on, I don't have the carbs even tightened up to the manifolds, I don't have them synced yet, but she idles at about 1,500 RPM. The idle should be 1,000 or 1,100, but once I get the carbs synced up, I can very easily adjust that. But I think what we got now is, we got a running motorcycle that idles and responds to the throttle. So this is a major win, guys. Major win.